Black and gold fans, college football fans, welcome in, welcome back to the Touchdown Black and Gold vlog, where I examine, discuss, celebrate, and honor all things college football across the entire college football landscape, but with a very special emphasis on our beloved black and gold squads of the Missouri Tigers and the Iowa Hawkeyes. It's great to be back with you. I'm your host, Blair Parks. Holla at you, boy! It's great to be back. This is my Week 3 review and recap episode. I do it every Tuesday following the action of college football the previous week. And really awesome episode lined up for you today. I really think you're going to enjoy it. What a Week 3 we had. I mean, just potentially the ending of the year with Appalachian State, a walk-off Hail Mary against the Men of Troy in Boone, North Carolina, with game day being at Boone at Appalachian State for the first time ever. They fully took advantage of their moment. And what a storybook ending for the Appalachian State Mountaineers. And that sort of a situation with game day there, the eyes of the college football world on you, and that is the ending in the game that we have. You can't script anything better. I mean, that is Hollywood and then some. What a Week 3 it was. So both to summarize how our black and golds did, both black and gold squads picked up a much needed wins at home to both improve to 2-1 here in the young season of college football 2022. Missouri was a 34-17 winner over FCS Abilene Christian. And in that game, the offense did look much better. I mean, I've been telling Missouri fans, Tiger fans out there, just give this offense a chance. Overall, they're still a very young offense, especially in those key positions. To be more specific, in your big-time skill positions, quarterback, receiver, and they're still trying to figure out who their featured running back is. It's still really running back by committee. So the Missouri offense is making progress, maybe not as quickly as some of you would like, but trust me, they are. And that was a big-time, much-needed win, kind of their last potential get-right game before SEC conference play opens up. And really, to me, the story in the Missouri game was the thicker kicker. My Lou Groza Award winner, Harrison Mevis, missed not one, but two, very uncharacteristic-like for Harrison Mevis. Iowa won 27-0 over Nevada from the Mountain West. And you heard right, 27 points were put on the scoreboard in a offensive flurry, an outburst, just an explosion of offense from our Iowa Hawkeyes on Saturday into Sunday morning. If you missed this game, it did kick off Saturday evening, but due to not one, not two, but three weather delays, the game wrapped up just shortly before 2 a.m. on Sunday morning. So obviously the Iowa offense looked better. They looked closer to average, which that's really all they need to be. Just try to be average and don't put yourself in bad situations. No turnovers, no issues there, penalties, and they definitely looked a little bit better. I did do an instant reaction and recap to the Iowa-Nevada game. Feel free to check that out if you like. That was posted early Sunday afternoon. Feel free to check it out and see what you think. And before I go any further, I have to give you, always as I do each and every episode, much love and thanks. Without you, none of this would be possible. This is a safe haven, not just for black and gold fans, but for all college football fans from coast to coast, north to south, and everywhere in between. Recently, this week, we've picked up 2 more subscribers. We definitely could use some more. So always, thank you for your time, your support, your attention. If you know anybody who's a college football fan, a Missouri fan, Iowa fan, let them know about the Touchdown Black and Gold vlog. I always welcome and encourage any participation, any comments. Please like, share, subscribe, click that subscribe button, rate, anything that you would like. You are more than welcomed here, and without you, none of this would be possible. So thank you for all that you've done for the channel and everything you will continue to do for the Touchdown Black and Gold vlog. It really hurts me to say that here we are. We're post week 3. It's in the rearview mirror. We're already a quarter of the way through the season. When you think of it like that, it's almost depressing. But I'm going to try to get that out of my mind at this point. So as usual, as the normal lineup today, as for most of my review and recap episodes. First of all, my first segment will be my buy, sell, or hold segment, where I will give you 6 hot takes, 6 statements, and let you know if I buy, sell, or will hold that statement for now based on what I saw over week 3. Then after that, we will move into most everyone's favorite, a fan favorite segment, the good, the bad, and the ugly that I saw in week 3. Then following that, we will move into my weekly team power rankings, 1 through 10 and plus 2. I give you the 2 standbys, so my 12 best teams that I believe are currently playing FBS Division I in this great nation of ours. And then we'll wrap it up with my usual 3 cheers. I have to give some love and props to some teams, players, coaches, conferences, fan bases, you name it. Some of those, all of the above potentially, that deserve a little bit of credit for what I saw over week 3 that some of you would have no idea. These are really things that are kind of the unknowns, maybe things you wouldn't notice watching highlights, reading headlines or stats, things that are off the radar. And I always try to involve this the best I can, because whenever I can spread the college football love, ladies and gentlemen, that's what I try to do. I aim to please. So, without further ado, I say we go ahead and get right into buy, sell, or hold. So for that, I need to wait for the opening bell on Wall Street, and I will break this out the best I can. Oh, nope. Oh, nope. Sorry, that is, that was the incorrect sound effect, obviously. So let's go back here. Let's try this again. I will do my best Jordan Belfort impersonation, the Wolf of Wall Street himself. And we need to wait for the bell. There it is. Sorry for my on-air gaffe there. It happens. All right, there it is. Time for buy, sell, or hold. All right. So my first statement of today is after a week 3 full of several solid victories. Oregon, here's an example, Oregon over number 12 BYU. I mean, Oregon scored on the first, I think they scored touchdowns on their first five possessions over BYU in Eugene. And at that point, it basically was game blouses. The game was over, so big win there for Oregon. Washington, the Huskies, took down number 11, Michigan State in Seattle, a game that it looked closer on the scoreboard, but was never really a threat, was Michigan State against Washington. And USC at home against a very scrappy Fresno State team with my guy, Jake Haener, who I believe is the best player at the non-Power 5 level. Unfortunately, in the third quarter, Jake Haener did leave. He was carted off with a very nasty-looking lower leg injury. Hopefully he gets back soon. But those 3 Pac-12 teams, Oregon, USC, Washington, and Utah won big as well. Because of those victories, all right, is the Pac-12 is still very much alive for a college football playoff berth, I'm going to absolutely buy that. I mean, I've been saying I think the Pac-12 is a very solid conference top to bottom. It actually is deeper than a few other conferences is what I believe. Even after a week 1 loss, I told you guys that Utah is still absolutely in the college football playoff hunt. They will be there. But Oregon, a big-time return victory. I mean, after getting absolutely throttled week 1 to Georgia, they've had back-to-back victories, and what a big victory over BYU, a team that I was and am still very high on. Washington, big statement victory there for first-year coach Caleb DeBoer there at Washington. USC keeps on scoring and naming the score. I mean, basically even telling you what they're going to do offensively, and still just can't be stopped. But they really haven't played a blue blood, strong defense quite yet. So the Pac-12, absolutely, I'm buying that. They are in the college football playoff race in that discussion. I actually think they're a deeper conference than the Big 12 and even maybe my Big 10. I mean, Ohio State and Michigan clearly have separated themselves on a different level in the Big 10. I think the Pac-12 is deeper top to bottom in the Big 10 as well. That's just my opinion. You can buy, sell, or hold it for yourselves, but I'm buying that statement. Statement number 2. Following last year's Cinderella run by Cincinnati en route to a college football playoff berth as a member of a non-Power 5 school and program, after some tough losses during week 3 and up through week 3 due to the upper echelon teams at the non-Power 5 level, the clock has officially struck midnight and history will not repeat itself this year. The non-Power 5 will be shut out of this year's college football playoff field. I'm actually going to sell that because there is still one hope, one team from the non-Power 5 that I think if things go their way, obviously they need to win their conference championship. They need to have A&M really turn around and be a threat in the SEC West. That's right, I'm talking about Appalachian State. Still having that win at Texas A&M in their back pocket, but they do have that opening week loss, that thriller at home against North Carolina. Appalachian State is still going to stick around. But like I said, things really have to kind of fall into place for them. Things are going to have to happen ahead of them. They're going to need some help. But week 3, I mean, my Air Force squad that I thought could potentially go undefeated this season en route potentially to a Mountain West Conference title. They lost on the road at Wyoming. UCF week 2 lost to Louisville. Fresno State now has 2 losses. They have their chances against Oregon State, and USC couldn't seal the deal there. Houston, who was the only, well, actually, there was 2 of them. Houston started the year as a ranked non-Power 5 team. They now have lost back-to-back games against Texas Tech and at home against Kansas. That's right, the Jayhawks. More on Kansas here later in this episode. And Cincinnati, they started the year ranked, but they lost opening week at Arkansas. So the teams that I thought from the non-Power 5 could get there, I think are out. But Appalachian State, help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi. You're my only hope. That's them. So I'm selling the statement that they are officially done at this point. Next statement. Number 5, Clemson is undoubtedly the odds-on favorite to win the ACC title, and it is the conference's only and best hope to be represented in the college football playoff field. I'm going to hold that statement for now. I mean, this week coming up, week 4, a huge game to kind of see how the ACC is going to play itself out. Number 5, Clemson travels to ranked Wake Forest. I think Clemson is the best team in the ACC. I did pick them to be one of the 4 participants in the college football playoff, but I don't quite think they have their offense figured out quite yet. Defensively, Studley, offense does look better than last year's, but they're still kind of treading water. NC State has really started to find their mojo after an almost week 1 upset at East Carolina. Wake Forest, I mentioned, is playing really good football. Sam Hartman, their quarterback, is back. Pittsburgh looks like to be a very, very tough out. Miami looks to be very talented, a lot of potential, but I'm not quite sure where the Hurricanes are. So I'm going to just hold that statement because the ACC, I think, is going to become very wide open here really, really shortly. Next statement, let's look at the Big 12 next. Number 6, Oklahoma, is undoubtedly the odds-on favorite to win the Big 12 title, and it is the conference's only and best hope to be represented in the college football playoff field. I am absolutely going to buy this statement. I really did and still do like the Baylor Bears, but that loss at BYU could really come back to haunt them. I think they're going to have to win out and defeat Oklahoma straight up. But Oklahoma looked really impressive, folks, week 3. I mean, granted, they played Nebraska, who is reeling after the firing of Coach Scott Frost, but still on the road to a rival at a rivalry like that to perform like they did. It was 49-14 was the final score, Oklahoma over Nebraska, but I believe it was 49-0, maybe 49-7 at the end of the third quarter. And thanks to Coach Brent Venables just doing a lot of running back and fullback dive plays the fourth quarter, just kind of wanted to run the clock out, but they absolutely could have put up a 60-burger, I think, on Nebraska. This Oklahoma team, I don't think really people realize how good they are on all phases of the ball. We knew Brent Venables was going to bring a solid defense to Norman. I mean, he excelled in that position as the former DC at Clemson, but I love quarterback Dillon Gabriel. I think this team is much better than expected and advertised. So I'm absolutely buying that about the Oklahoma Sooners. My next statement, let's go to the Big Ten. The Big Ten Conference has reverted back to the good old days of Woody versus Bo, Schembechler versus Hayes, known as the Big 2 and the Little 8, but now with more of an updated version, now the Big 3, including Penn State in there, and the Little 11. I'm actually going to buy this statement. I think right now the Big 10, there is so much separation at the very, very top from the rest of the Big 10. It's really going to come down to that. It is the new Big 3 and Little 11. It just is. Now, Ohio State, Michigan, I think, are better teams than Penn State, but Penn State looked absolutely the part on the road in SEC country, absolutely beating down and embarrassing Auburn week 3 to a national televised audience. I think they can hang with Ohio State and Michigan because all 3 of those teams, how they recruit, and those 3 teams recruit at such a different, higher level than the rest of the Big Ten. I think it actually now is the Big 3 and Little 11. No offense to Big Ten teams, and my team, Iowa, being one of them. I think there's some really, really solid teams in the Big Ten. I think Minnesota is a very, very solid team. I think Maryland could be, potentially Wisconsin, maybe even Iowa. Hell, if they continue to progress on offense. But I don't think any of those teams can get anywhere near in competition to Ohio State, Michigan, and maybe Penn State. So I think the Big Ten race is not going to be very wide open. And we've seen that for the last better part of almost a decade, how much more the Big Ten East, where those 3 teams compete within, that division has been so much better than the West. And within the East, those 3 teams are always so much better. I know Michigan State last year was a surprise team in college football, but I just don't think, I think they're going to take a few steps back this year. So I buy that statement. And I always save one concerning our beloved black and gold squad. So my 6th and final hot take is punter Tory Taylor, the punter from down under, is more valuable to the Iowa Hawkeyes than place kicker Harrison Mevis, the thicker kicker, is to the Missouri Tigers. Tory Taylor, he's balling out. His legacy grows. I think he is actually the MVP right now of the entire Iowa Hawkeye football roster. But I'm going to sell. And here's why. I think Harrison Mevis means so much more to Missouri than Tory Taylor, because Tory Taylor really sets up Iowa's defense. And I've said that for a while, that punting is an extension of your defense. It's the defense's first play, sets them up for field position, how they're going to scheme. And right now, Iowa has the fourth best statistically defense in the nation. Iowa's still going to be an elite defensive team, even if they had an average punter. But Harrison Mevis, the thicker kicker, my Luke Groza award winner preseason, that's what I predicted. Missouri's going to need him. And we've seen this with the slow development of that offense. But their offense does look like they know what they're trying to do. They just need more reps and they need more experience at those key positions. So Harrison Mevis absolutely is more important and more vital to Missouri than Tory Taylor is to Iowa. So I'm going to sell that statement that Tory Taylor is more valuable. So there's my buy, sell, or hold for post week 3. Like, share, comment. Let me know what you think about that. So now we get down to one of, if not my favorite segment, Blondie, take it away. This is for you, the late, great Ennio Morricone, one of the greatest composers of all time. Let it play. That's right. It is time for the good, the bad, and the ugly from week 3. So let's go ahead and get this started. Let's start off with what the good was from week 3. And wow, I already mentioned it, but now I'm going to mention it more in depth. Basketball royalty unite and step forward to be recognized. That's right. Basketball schools? Does that tagline really exist? Post week 3, the following basketball schools currently sit undefeated. Number 8, Kentucky. That's right, Coach Cal. Kentucky's not just a basketball school. Number 8, Kentucky's undefeated. North Carolina, very surprisingly, Duke under first-year coach Mike Elko is 3-0. Indiana, one of the biggest surprises, they're out to a 3-0 start. But the biggest surprise, the Kansas Jayhawks are undefeated, but unfortunately, one of those teams is going to have to fall from those ranks because week 4, Duke travels to Kansas. What a matchup that's going to be. That is absolutely going to be one of my 15 picks for my episode later this week, the week 4 preview and picks episode. So congratulations, especially Kansas. What Coach Lance Leipold is doing there in Lawrence is really something that goes beyond belief and beyond description. I mean, and they are looking good in victory on the field. They absolutely boat raced Houston, a team that was a dark horse college football playoff contender, and they never, ever had a chance in this game. And the best thing is looking on the sideline and seeing Coach Dana Holgerson's hair going all over the place. It's like magnetized, front, back, sideways, down, up. It's all over the place. So congratulations to those basketball schools, the good, after week 3 for remaining and sitting undefeated. I mean, just hats off to you. I give you a clap. It's really, really unbelievable. And that's what makes college football so great. Now it's time for the bad in week 3. The coaching carousel, which last year it was a epic coaching carousel. The hirings and firings and basically transfers from one blue blood program to another that we saw with the coaching carousel. But unfortunately, the coaching carousel has already begun. It is starting to spin. It's fired up. The first domino fell a couple weeks ago after week 2 with Nebraska firing coach Scott Frost after a 1-2 start because they did play a week 0 game. So and he was dismissed from his post during his 5th year, which Scott Frost absolutely had to go. I didn't really mention this in depth, but I did mention it last week, but Coach Scott Frost, his time was up. I mean, he did everything, changed coaching staff, changed players, brought in new players via the portal. He's the only constant. He couldn't get it done. And, leaving him in charge longer at Nebraska would be the equivalent of letting Fredo run the Corleone family. I mean, Fredo's got a big heart, but he's weak and he's stupid. So it'd be like Fredo being in charge of the Corleone family. So Coach Frost had to go. But after week 3, after a home loss to Eastern Michigan and falling to 1-2 on the season, Arizona State get forked. That's right. That's their rally call of Arizona State. Arizona State dismissed Coach Herm Edwards, who's also involved with an ongoing investigation dealing with recruitment violations during the COVID dead period. So I did project this was going to happen. This was one of my bold predictions I made about a month, maybe 2 months ago on my first episode of this season. So Coach Herm Edwards officially canned as Arizona State head coach. Brian Harsin, who I also believe will be dismissed at some point this season. I mean, following a blowout loss at home to Penn State, what a bragging chip that is, for the Big Ten to go into SEC country and absolutely demolish an SEC squad. Following that blowout loss to Penn State, he's now Coach Brian Harsin's officially on life support. He's just being kept alive to be on the sideline as a coach. His regime there, it's basically over. He's going to be dismissed unless there's some sort of miraculous turnaround. So that's going to happen very shortly. And Missouri travels to the Plains to take on Auburn this week. And Missouri has a history of being the final nail in coaches' coffins who are on the hot seat. We've seen it. So if Missouri is able to go down and defeat a reeling, struggling Auburn team, yes, Coach Brian Harsin's going to be fired by Sunday afternoon, if that happens. Also, I'm going to say this. If Colorado, who's currently 0-3, who has not been competitive at all, even though I'll say this for Colorado, they've had a tough schedule. They played Air Force. They also played, who else did they play? I know they played Minnesota, and they played somebody else decent. They played TCU. So they played tough teams, but they're 0-3, and they have looked porous at best. In defeat, they cannot get any sort of traction at all. They have looked absolutely embarrassing. And if they lose upcoming week 4 in embarrassing fashion at home against UCLA, I absolutely expect that Coach Karl Dorrell for Colorado will be dismissed by Sunday afternoon as well. And I also predicted that Coach Karl Dorrell would be terminated at some point this season at Colorado. So that's the bad. Coaching carousel is already vamping up, and there's going to be a lot of casualties involved once again this season because everybody wants to be the first to fire, to get out in front, to bring in, Joe Schmo, the best potential new coaching hire. And now the ugly for week 3. The ugliness of the AP polls continues. And I hate doing this again. This was the subject of last week's The Ugly for week 2, but the conspiracy theory and conference politics are so easy to identify. They're right there on the surface. They're not even trying to hide or deny it. 5 ranked teams, and 4 of which played fellow FBS opponents, dropped at least 1 spot in victory. So 5 teams that are ranked won, but still dropped at least 1 spot. And those teams were Oklahoma State, Florida, Wake Forest, Texas, and Pitt. Now, here's the thing. This is what irritates the hell out of me. And I just want to know what the hell, how can you justify it? Those teams lost when they won, okay? But number 10 Arkansas hosted number 4 from the FCS level, Missouri State, a very good program, okay? But this is what transpired. At one point, Arkansas trailed 17-0, nil, love, whatever, however you want to say it, at home in Fayetteville. And they needed 21 points in the fourth quarter to secure and steal victory away from the jaws of defeat. They didn't take their first lead against Missouri State until midway through the fourth quarter via a kickoff return, or it may have been a punt return, a special teams return, I'll say that. So that's what it took to defeat Missouri State at home while you're the number 10 or perceived 10th best team in the nation. And you know what happened? Arkansas remained number 10 in the AP polls. I do not understand this. It is criminal. I want to hear from some Arkansas fans. If you happen to know an Arkansas fan, tell them to tune in. I like to hear their comments, their side. Or if you're an Arkansas fan joining me, please comment, let me know. Just try to state your reasons or your case. Justify why you shouldn't have dropped at least one spot. Come on. I mean, this is getting to be just... This is a downright disgrace and an insult to this great sport. That's why I don't pay any attention to preseason polls. The only polls that really matter are the college football playoff rankings when they start coming out. I mean, I say I don't pay attention, but yet this is the second week the ugly has been AP polls. But I'm just tired of the polls being beauty pageants. I mean, they celebrate the brand name of the team, the name of the name on the jersey, and the logo on the helmet. That's what it is, and it sickens me to no end about this. I mean, or they just rank them based on who they think or who they believe should be legit, and I'm sick and tired of it. It's ugly. It's got to stop. Now let me get to my happy place. Namaste. Blood pressure's calming down. So that is week three's the good, the bad, and the ugly. All right. So now let's move into my team power rankings post week 3. Let me take a quick swig. All right. So each and every week I give you my top 10 plus 2. These are the teams that I believe are the best teams in the nation at this point. And I do update you week by week what teams have moved up, if some have moved down, if some have completely fallen off the list, and if it's a team's initial appearance on my power rankings list. So let's start off. 1 through 4 is unchanged from last week. I've got Georgia number 1, Ohio State number 2, Alabama number 3, and Michigan number 4. Now, at number 5 this week, there is a change, and agree or disagree, comment, like, share, subscribe. Let me know what you think. I've got Tennessee up 1 spot from last week from 6 to 5. I am very, very high on this Tennessee team. A big-time matchup this weekend in Knoxville. Florida comes calling. I believe game day is there in Knoxville on old Rocky Top for that game. Definitely want to check that out. Number 6, down 1 spot from 5 to 6 this week. I've got the Clemson Tigers. I like Clemson, but I just don't know about their offense quite yet. They still look like they're a work in progress. All right, so just stay with me with that, but drop 1 spot. Number 7, just like last week, I've got the Utah Utes, the 2 Utes, that's right. I got Utah still at number 7. Still right there, treading water, just patiently waiting. Number 8, moving up 1 spot from 9 to 8. This week, I've got the men of Troy, USC. I mean, their offense looked really good against Fresno State. Defense was able to create some turnovers and keep Jake Haener and that offense kind of in check, at least while he was in the game. So USC, I know they're ranked a lot higher in the polls, but I still need to see them face off with a legitimate defensive opponent. And we're going to see that this upcoming weekend when they travel to a very tough Oregon State team in Corvallis. Number 9, up 3 spots from last week. They looked very, very good on the road. I already mentioned it. I've got Oklahoma at number 9. I think they are the class of the Big 12. I know Oklahoma State is ranked in the top 10 people, but I just haven't seen enough out of them to really know where they are. At number 10, down 2 spots, I know they had a third-string quarterback making his first ever start on the road, but it was to Western Michigan of the MAC. I've got Pittsburgh falling 2 spots to number 10, even though they did get the victory, but was not a decisive victory. Number 11, making their initial appearance on my power rankings list, I've got the Penn State Nittany Lions after their complete dominant performance at Auburn over the weekend. And number 12, making their initial appearance, they were going to be on my initial power rankings list, but that initial showing week 1 at East Carolina made me think twice. That's right, number 12, I've got the NC State Wolfpack. Definitely look like they've got things in order, everything together there for the Wolfpack. So that's my power rankings for you. Top 12, post week 3. Let me know. Like, share, subscribe, comment. You agree, disagree with those power rankings? Now my final segment for today's episode, my week 3 review and recap, is my 3 cheers segment from week 3. Things that I've got to give some attention to, much love, props, and respect to, because these are things that can go very easily unnoticed and overlooked. But I'm going to start off right now by doing this. That's right. So my first cheers for week 3 is the Old North or the Tar Heel State. It actually kind of shares a dual state motto. I thought about just saying the Old North State because that is in the official state song, but many people refer to it as the Tar Heel State. That's right. The great state of North Carolina. North Carolina is currently the mecca of college football in this nation. They are, and here's why. I mean, you have so many teams within the great state of North Carolina that are undefeated and playing really, really good football. All right? For example, in the ACC, the premier conference in North Carolina, Duke, as I mentioned, is sitting 3-0. North Carolina also is 3-0. NC State, undefeated 3-0, as is Wake Forest at 3-0. Now, Sun Belt Conference, Appalachian State is 2-1, but think of the roller coaster they've put us on. How much fun it's been watching this team week by week. I mean, put up 40 points in week 1 and lose to fellow North Carolina State, North Carolina Tar Heels, on a failed 2-point conversion at the end, but the winner, the stunner at A&M, and the walk-off Hail Mary over the weekend, week 3, so Appalachian State. In the MEAC conference of the FCS, we've got North Carolina Central is also undefeated at 3-0. So hip, hip, hooray, 3 cheers for the Old North State and the Tar Heel State. So for you, I say... All right. My second cheer post week 3 is the power of the Valley. That's right. What a showing and what a weekend for the Conference of Champions at the FCS level, the Missouri Valley Conference. You don't sleep on the Valley, folks, and they showed you exactly why. Not one, but there were 2 near misses over week 3 of upsets at FBS Power 5 programs, including one against number 10 Arkansas, which I talked about that game. Missouri State of the Missouri Valley had them where they wanted them. They just couldn't quite seal the deal, but what a showing in defeat for Coach Bobby Petrino and the Bears of Missouri State. And out in the desert, Arizona escaped the upset bid by number 1 ranked FCS North Dakota State, the Bison. That's right, not Bison, the Bison. They escaped their upset bid. Final score 31-28 Arizona. So still, what a great showing by North Dakota State. I mean, to be that close, to be in it the entire game. And with that loss, here's a little bit of a side bit of trivia for you, a little bit of knowledge. It's what I do because I am a historian for college football. With that loss at Arizona, that snaps a 6-game winning streak for North Dakota State against FBS opponents. I mean, that is absolutely phenomenal. Before this loss, they won 6 straight. And now you see why FBS schools are hesitant to schedule the Bison of North Dakota State. So what a great showing for North Dakota State. And wow, so the other one that I've got to mention is 2 near misses and 1 victory over an FBS school. Not just an FBS school, but over an FBS Power 5 school and opponent. That's right, the SIU Salukis. SIU. I have much love and respect for SIU. I spent a good portion of my adult life living in Carbondale, Illinois. I worked and taught at the university. SIU went on the road to Evanston, Illinois, and toppled and shocked Northwestern of the Big Ten 31-24. And that is the first FCS win over a Power 5 team this season. So what a showing for the Missouri Valley. 2 near misses and 1 victory. Keep it up, Valley. We're proud of you. And for your efforts, I give you a big and loud. There we go. Now my last 3 cheers of week 3 is I gotta do it. I may not have a chance the rest of the season. The Iowa offense, that right, they came to life, scoring 27 points during Saturday and Sunday's game against Nevada in a flurry, that outburst, a offensive clinic, a plethora of points against Nevada. 337 total yards, 175 through the air, 162 on the ground, with 3 total touchdowns for the Hawkeyes. And why that's important? I mean, those numbers really aren't all that impressive, but when I tell you what those same stats were the previous 2 games combined, you're going to see why I'm giving the Iowa offense 3 cheers. In the previous 2 games, they scored only 10 points total, 316 total yards, 201 yards passing through the air, and only 115 yards on the ground, with 1 total touchdown by the offense. So, Iowa offense, we saw some progress. You gave us something to believe in, which is what we needed. We needed something to hang our hat on. You gave it to us. Thank you. Keep progressing. Just be average. That's all you have to do. And hopefully that pays dividends this week when we open up Big Ten play on the road at Rutgers in Piscataway. So, for you, the Iowa offense, I say to you, very loud and deserving, maybe not the rest of the season, but right now, week 3, you deserve a big... That is right, you do. And that is my 3 cheers for week 3. So that is today's episode. I hope you enjoyed it. Actually, I don't think you enjoyed it. I know you enjoyed it. Please, once again, like, share, subscribe, comment. You're encouraged to get involved here. You're always welcomed. This is a safe haven for black and gold fans and all college football fans alike. Spread the word. Tell your friends. Tell your family to tune in to the Touchdown Black and Gold vlog. And thank you once again for everything you do. This is an absolute pleasure for me to be here with you 2 to 3 times a week, sharing my love and passion for all things college football. I'm not in this for monetary gain. It's just a hobby that is an absolute pleasure to share with you. So, look for my week 4 preview and picks episode coming up later this week. Probably be posted on a Thursday afternoon, if not Thursday evening. Feel free to be looking for that. And as always, I like to always sign off by saying thank you. And until I see you next time, peace, progress, prosperity, and thank you for joining me on today's episode of the Touchdown Black and Gold vlog. We'll see you then. Bye-bye.